Just a quick comment. There's 3 generations of veterans sitting here, basically, in one aspect as far as years. And you can kind of, in my opinion, sitting here, old hippie, see a difference in attitude. You've got a gentleman there that came home with the stuff that I grew up with, you know, the Clark Gable films. The beautiful heroine waiting for you to return after days at sea and whatever else it is. And in Vietnam, what time I spent in there in the service, no combat, but certainly a part of the return trip, going into it and seeing how it was accepted or not. Tim, good friend, 4 years old, hitting this country in a war that was going on over there that no one understood. I sure as hell didn't. There were 7 cowboys that went into my flight in the Air Force, and the rest of them were half black, half white. They were redneck, and they were the other half black. And they didn't know anything. Thank God I had some ROTC myself, and it made it smooth, but not to accept war. It just made it smoother to get my way through it, so I could pass inspections and get a couple extra days in San Antonio, Texas. What I mean, though, is war is something that no one's ever going to be able to define, in my opinion, because it goes from one end of the scale to the other. And from the greatest heroine, or the wife of the greatest hero that knocked down as many planes, to a kid that I counsel as a therapist that still so fucked up because his dad was killed over there and he has no understanding as to what the hell went down. And suicides. Tried it, a 14-year-old, because he had nothing to live for, you know. So it's a difficult thing, but the vets coming back, and what I've learned from these gentlemen and other wonderful people and vets, helping vets now, vets for vets, whatever, is that the support is a reality. It's no bullshit in regards to who started this war and we're going to get out of it or whatever. Got some boys in trouble. Well, you want to call it traumatic brain, you want to call it PTSD. Doesn't make any difference. The domino effect, you're here today. So, somewhere we got to come to some kind of an agreement, because those kids coming back from what we got gone over there are even, in my opinion, in worse condition. These poor little pups are getting blown up sitting there in a can. You know, they get the best training in the world, they come back with no legs. And it's hard to understand what the hell they were doing. I've been in a VA hospital here with some shoulder operations, some situations. It's great that there are organizations and lovely ladies and people and men that are dedicating themselves to what's happening to these individuals, such as myself, without going into any detail, and getting some help there. Whether you're going to go over and end the goddamn war or not, I don't care. I just know that if there's some help there, they aren't going to be running around the street shooting somebody because they're really pissed off at something they don't understand. So I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing like you did. Tracy.
I wanted to respond to your comments. I participate in a veterans group. It's a nonprofit. You've probably heard some of it. And I do that not because I like war. I do that because my hope is by sharing our experience, what we went through to come back into the world, if we can do that and help them save them time and suffering, then our experience becomes more valuable. And I'm grateful to do that. And it's an honor to do it with Iraq and Afghani vets. They're starting to show up. The expectation is still going to be some time before they finally start showing up in significant numbers when the lives really start getting difficult. So I think it's important. I'm grateful for the support of veterans, unlike what we experienced in Vietnam. I'm grateful the nation at least is supporting veterans. Having said that, I hate war. I think it's an abomination. I don't have any problem with anybody who doesn't serve in the military and doesn't go to war. Human beings should not experience war. I do have a problem with people who have never been to war, had the opportunity, and are willing to send others to do their fighting for them. I do have a problem with that. But I also want to say I share your deep felt frustration. This is a big country, a great country, a powerful country. We spend $1 trillion a year on our military, as much as all the other nations on this planet put together. And my question to myself is, my God, who are we so afraid of? Yes, we need a military, but we can't feed the kids. They're not getting the education they need. We can't afford health care. We can't. But we can afford trillions of dollars on conflict. I also participate in an international mediators group. Not because I think I'm going to bring peace to the world, but I'd rather try bringing peace to the world than add to the conflicts that are already here. We can make choices, and it doesn't always have to be conflict. In my opinion, war is simply a reaction out of fear, anger, hatred, and bigotry. I really can't thank you enough for your time and being here.
I'd just like to say one thing, that I'm asked, everybody wants to know what branch of the service were you in, if you like it, so on and so forth. My philosophy is that whatever branch of service, or however you went in, or what your feelings were, if you came out whole, you were in the right outfit.
True. Any closing remarks? So we have time for just one more question. Do we have a question, comment?
I want to know what you think the best way that a civilian like myself could help veterans reintegrate into our society, since they are going to be starting to come back in droves, like you said.
Good question. Very good question.
I think that one of the nicest things that I've run into since I've been in Boulder was the veterans, helping veterans. When I needed to ride to the VA, Ray and whoever, it's just, I think it's just a great outfit, and the good that they do for the veterans, and most of them naturally are veterans, but they understand what the problems are.
He's talking about Veterans Helping Veterans Now, which is a nonprofit organization in Boulder. There's information out on the table if you would like to learn more about them. So, one more dying question.
I just want to make one comment. The only real answer I have is if you haven't been in the military, if you've not been in combat, learn what you can about the conflict, but mostly just listen. Be willing to listen. It's going to be hard sometimes to listen, and you may not even understand it, but you want to hear it. Oftentimes people ask, what was it like? And when you start telling them what it was like, it's like, oh, so sure when you start that conversation that you're in a place where you're willing and ready to listen.
Really wish there was an easy answer to that question, but there isn't. And if it was that easy, then we wouldn't have the issues that we do with veterans. I wouldn't say issues with them, but it's a complicated issue, because a lot of times guys like me, we have a hard time talking to people who don't understand, where we come from, what we've been through, the things that we've done, the things that guys like Bob had to go through. It's difficult for them to talk about it. And to talk about it to somebody who doesn't understand is even more difficult for them. So oftentimes, when we veterans would just kind of stuff their feelings, somewhere inside and just try and forget about it and try to be normal. But when they do that, eventually it's going to come out one way or another. And it's just a difficult thing to try to get to them. But like Bob said, just listen and try to listen.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming and participating and listening to this talk, because I think to answer your question is to have forums like these where we get to talk about veterans issues, and so people get that much more education and just even awareness around veterans, that they're coming back and they're struggling to come back. So platforms like this where you get to come and have the opportunity to listen firsthand, because as Tim pointed out, a lot of veterans don't like to open up to civilians, so here's the platform where it's opened up. So I want to thank Jeff Ballot and Novacut for filming this, because we're going to have this video available on the Windhorse Guild website, I believe, in some time. So I want to thank you for doing that. I also want to thank the Windhorse Guild for just creating this platform to talk about veterans issues. I don't think we can do it enough. It's something that I'm very passionate about, so I love the opportunity to get to speak about this and organize it. And I want to thank you, Bob and Roger and Tim, for illuminating us, like Tim Thich Nhat Hanh is saying, that it's through your awareness and transformation that we get these opportunities to look at peace. And I want to thank you for bringing us a step closer to that. As I said, there's an information table out front with the Windhorse Guild's information on there. There's a suggested donation, so if you feel compelled, please leave some money. And also there is information about veterans helping veterans now. And there is a family talk series that is currently running with Vets Helping Vets organization, and their next talk is on secondary trauma. So kind of what you were talking about, how the ripple effect of trauma and listening to the stories and what that does to our psyches and our souls and our spirits. So I'll be covering about that topic for family members and for professionals that work with trauma. And that next talk will be on July 12th. And as I said, there's information out there, so if you'd like to get on the VHB website's mailing list, you'd be informed of that talk. So thank you all again for coming today, and thank you to